Welcome once again to the Truth, Lies, and Alzheimer's television show. And I have another brand new episode planned for y'all today. We are going to be taking a sledgehammer once again for part 2 of busting myths that have been circulating around for decades. But before we dive in, I just wanted to remind everybody, if you want more information or to subscribe to our weekly free newsletter, go to mindingdementia.com. We always have resources and very valuable information on that website for you to have as a resource. Okay, first myth I have for you. If you have dementia, you can't work or contribute meaningfully anymore. And the truth of that is, people with dementia may continue to work or volunteer in adapted roles, especially in early to mid stages or with accommodations. Meaningful activities supports identity and well-being. This is misleading because it totally ignores the ongoing capabilities and potential for adaptation. So what's the takeaway here? Explore supportive, part-time, and or flexible options aligned with the person's current abilities. As a side note, I have seen so many people over the decades that find very purposeful and meaningful activities that they continue on for a very, very long time. I'm talking years, living with a dementia diagnosis. Next one, dementia only affects memory, not every decisions or safety. Well, the truth is, dementia can impair judgment, decision-making, and safety. For example, driving or managing finances or cooking, even when memory seems relatively preserved. This is misleading because it understates functional risk. So regular safety assessments and planning are very important here. Next one, if a loved one has dementia, you should do everything for them to avoid frustration. No, please don't. People with dementia often benefit from appropriate levels of independence and guided participation. Overhelping can reduce their autonomy and their mood and actually encourage them to become an invalid. So this is misleading because it reinforces dependency. So the takeaway for this one is to balance support with opportunities for choice and mastery, and pay attention to their skill level for whatever stage of the disease that they're in. Next one, dementia is an emotional or psychological problem and not a brain disease. This is far beyond the truth. Dementia is primarily a brain disease with neurological changes, though mood and behavior are closely linked and can be affected. For example, depression is very common with dementia. So that's an example of how the two are linked. Well, this is misleading because it confuses neurological and psychological aspects. So treat both brain health and mental health as part of your care plan. Dementia is untreatable. Nothing can slow it down. And the truth there is that some interventions can actually slow progression or improve symptoms temporarily. That's the key word, temporarily, especially with early diagnosis and comprehensive care, which includes medical management, cognitive strategies, and physical activity. And this is misleading because it implies inevitability. And that is such a misnomer that people believe once they get that dementia diagnosis, that's it. Their life is pretty much over. And that is absolutely not true. So the takeaway for this one is that early and proactive care really does matter. Next one, dementia is a single disease. There aren't different types. And the truth of that is dementia is a broad category. There are many causes, including Alzheimer's disease, vascular dementia, Lewy body dementia, and frontotemporal dementia. There are over 100 known brain diseases that cause the similar symptoms that we see and that we refer to as dementia. But each of these has its own distinct features and care needs. And this is misleading because it oversimplifies diagnosis and management, which stands to reason. So the takeaway here is that accurate subtype awareness guides and treatment and planning are, things to really seriously consider. This next myth, pay attention to, because this is turning out to be one of the biggest risk factors that we now know about that increases a person's chance of developing Alzheimer's disease. And that is that hearing loss has no impact on dementia risk. And the truth is, and this is backed by scientific evidence, that hearing loss is greatly associated with higher dementia risk. So, addressing hearing impairment may support cognitive health and communication. And it's misleading for obvious reasons. It overlooks a modifiable risk factor. It's treatable with hearing aids. Takeaway, regular hearing checkups and hearing aids use can be extremely beneficial. Next one, dementia always starts with obvious memory problems. And the truth is that early symptoms can be subtle and vary person to person. You might see things like changes in behavior, language difficulties, confusion, top-down planning issues before memory problems. Some people first notice changes in executive function or personality. And this is definitely misleading because it misattributes the earliest signs to memory alone. The takeaway here, be attentive to a broader range of cognitive changes. I have read recently in many different places that a lot of people have reported that they've lost a sense of smell, and that was one of their first symptoms. So that could be something to pay attention to too. Next one. If you've had a head injury, you will definitely get dementia. That's not true. Head injuries do increase risk. That is true, especially with repeated injuries or severe trauma. But they certainly don't guarantee that somebody will develop dementia. And it's misleading because this one also implies inevitability. So the takeaway here is just to be safe, protect head health, seek prompt care for injuries, and manage vascular risk factors. All right, we're going to take a quick pause for a minute. And when we come back, we'll pick up that sledgehammer once again and finish busting these annoying myths. So don't go away. I'll be right back.
have enough information, just Google it or AI it. What the world needs today is courage and wisdom. The courageous ones have moved us forward. These are the fearless, the ones with determination, the resilient ones. They have grit and rise to meet the challenges and opportunities. They encourage, empower, and enlighten us to all glow up, shift our thinking, and step into our greatness. Yes, these are the ones who have led the way. Now, listen to the courageous ones of today and step into your courage.
Alrighty. Welcome back to the Truth, Lies, and Alzheimer's television show. I'm Lisa Skinner, your host. We're back from our quick break, and I'm going to continue on now with some more myths to bust. So the next one I want to share with everybody is that all dementia symptoms are identical across people. The truth is, symptom profiles vary widely. We have a saying in my world of dementia that if you've met one person with dementia, you've met one person with dementia, because everybody progresses through the stages differently. Some have prominent language issues. Others have visuospatial problems. Others have fluctuations in alertness or behavioral changes. And this is misleading because it promotes a uniform symptom picture. So assess and tailor care to the individual's unique presentation of the symptoms that they are displaying. This one has been around for as long as I have. I'm going to date myself back 50 years for this one, when my very first experience with Alzheimer's disease was with my grandmother. And this myth has existed since way back then and still exists today, although I have to say it is changing a little bit. But this one says, dementia cannot be discussed openly. It's better kept private. Please. This is not doing anybody any favors. Open conversation reduces fear. It encourages planning and improves access to support and care. And it's misleading because it does and always has perpetuated a stigma that has been attached to Alzheimer's disease and dementia for as long as I've been around, and secrecy. So encourage honest dialogue with loved ones and clinicians, please. Next one. Exercise is only good for physical health and not for cognitive health. The truth is that regular physical activity does support brain health, can slow cognitive decline, and improves mood, sleep, and overall functioning. This is misleading because it underplays cognitive benefits. And the takeaway here is to please include aerobic and strength training activities as part of your care plan, everybody's care plan, family members, the people living with dementia, and caregivers. Next one. Dementia care is only about medication management. And we have learned in the last 30 years, pretty much, that non-pharmacological strategies and environmental modifications, sticking to routines, communication techniques, and social engagement are all central to the quality of life and to a person's safety. This is misleading because it minimizes holistic care. And the takeaway here is to prioritize care planning that combines medications, if necessary, with supportive strategies. Next one. Dietary changes alone can prevent dementia. The truth here is that diet is only one factor among many, and that no single diet guarantees prevention. Healthy eating supports overall brain and body health. And this is misleading because it oversells that a single diet can be a cure. And that is absolutely not true. So focus on overall healthy lifestyle patterns rather than thinking that there is a single superfood out there that can cure your Alzheimer's disease or related dementia. Dementia only affects memory in the elderly. Other cognitive domains remain ineffective. That's not true. Other domains, such as language, attention, executive function, and visuospatial skills, are also commonly affected. And this is misleading because it understates the breadth of all the symptoms that we see as a result of the damage being done to the different parts of the brain that's caused by these brain diseases. So the takeaway here is that a comprehensive cognitive assessment is very important. The next one, there isn't anything that we need to consider for cultural or language differences in dementia care. The truth is that cultural background, language, and beliefs do influence preferences. They do influence care decisions and communication. Culturally competent care improves engagement and outcomes. And this is misleading because it assumes a one-size-fits-all approach. And we know that doesn't work. It's ineffective. So the takeaway here is respect cultural and linguistic needs of each individual person. Involve interpreters or cultural liaisons as needed. And now I am going to share with you my segment this week of real news that you can hopefully use. Now, this is an article posted by my friend, Dr. Riza Hosseini Gomi. And I talk about a lot of the articles that he researches because they're so accurate and so valuable. And this one, he says that AARP just released a state-by-state ranking of dementia risk factors. They've changed. And he even says here that the results surprised him. So here's what the AARP just released. And they found that for years we've talked about dementia prevention in general terms. Exercise helps. Mediterranean diet helps. Social engagement helps. But which factors matter most in America specifically, or even by state? Nobody knew. AARP partnered with the University of Washington, where he trained, and analyzed data from millions of Americans. So this is a huge sample. It's not a very small sample. The top 3 account for the largest share of preventable cases. Number 1, high blood sugar. So diabetes and prediabetes. That, as it turns out, is the single biggest preventable cause. It affects 37 million Americans. Another 96 million have prediabetes, and many don't even know that they have it. Number 2, here it is again, hearing loss. It affects 48 million Americans. Even mild, untreated hearing loss increases your risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. It doubles dementia risk when it's moderate. And only 20% of people who need hearing aids actually use them. Number 3, having a lower education level. So less than high school completion. And the reason why, because it is now found to be linked to a reduced cognitive reserve that protects our brains into later life. So this one requires societal changes, not individual action. It shows why dementia prevention must be more than personal responsibility. The 9 other factors on the list include high blood pressure, obesity, physical inactivity, air pollution, traumatic brain injury, and it also states in this article, what makes this research different? Previous studies lumped all these factors together and said that 45% of dementia is preventable. It's true, but not actionable. The study shows which factors drive the most cases and where to focus first. The findings vary by state. Now, some states have higher rates of diabetes. Others have more untreated hearing loss. Prevention strategies need to match local risk patterns. Here's what this means practically. If you have diabetes or prediabetes, treat it aggressively. Target the HbA1c and get it below 7%. Get your hearing tested. If you need hearing aids, use them. The stigma is not worth your brain health. We've known for decades that cardiovascular disease deaths have dropped since the year 2000. Down significantly because we addressed those risk factors. Smoking cessation, blood pressure control, statin use have all helped lower cardiovascular disease. Now, during that same time, and this is pretty startling, Alzheimer's deaths surged by 14%. We haven't applied the same prevention mindset to brain health that we applied to heart health. Your blood sugar matters more than brain training apps. Your hearing matters more than crossword puzzles. Have you had your blood sugar or hearing checked recently? Consider doing that if you haven't. And if you do suffer from a hearing deficit, or if you're pre-diabetic or diabetic, it'll definitely be doing you a huge favor if you're under a doctor's care for any of those conditions. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you for being here and sharing another new episode of the Truth, Lies, and Alzheimer's television show with me, Lisa Skinner. And again, I will have another episode ready for you for next week, and I hope you'll be here for that one as well. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Stay happy, stay healthy, and I will see you again next week. Bye-bye.